I'm Avery Cooper, host, and you're listening to WTM, your information station on the Big 870 across central Illinois. Your guest this morning, Acting County Director and Nutritional Wellness Educator Lisa Peterson with the University of Illinois Extension. And, you know, you have some of the best tips, I think, of just about any guest. Not that, you know, some guests don't have good tips, but you have some great food tips that are just so relevant for the time. We're a week away from Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yep.
And I think that everybody at home by now knows that means there's some tips you have about turkey.
Yes. Yep. We're getting closer to it. We're almost exactly a week away from Thanksgiving.
You know what? This time next week, I will be firing up my oven and getting ready to cook my turkey. So
yes. Yep. So, and for a lot of people, they already have their bird, but I did want to just briefly touch on some food safety tips, as well as for those trying to figure out how much do I need. So those who are the late ones who get their turkey last minute, that's okay. But figuring out how much should I buy. And generally the rule is 1 pound of turkey per person. Now, again, think about your family members. Are they big eaters? They don't eat quite that much? I mean, if we're trying to save on the calories, and maybe you go down to a 3/4 pound per person, but that's just a general rule. So if you're trying to figure out how much should I buy, keep in mind you usually want to do a general rule is 1 pound per person. We talk about turkeys.
Yeah, that's really good too. I mean, does that account for all the leftovers that you might give to the?
You may have leftovers, so that's the big thing. Is
so maybe go with, if you don't want to deal with the leftovers, go with that 3/4.
Yeah, maybe go a little bit less depending on how you're feeling. And the beauty of it too, I always think of Thanksgiving, we always focus on the food and what you can do afterwards with the food. And the problem is we tend to keep that food a little too long. And that's what we try to stop people from doing, just because that harmful bacteria you can't see, you can't smell, and you can't taste. So it's where we recommend you throw out things like roasted turkeys 3 to 4 days after Thanksgiving. So typically around Monday is the time you should really consider getting rid of it or freezing it. That's the other option too. Freezing is a great option for turkey because, again, you can use it for soup, you can use it for fajitas, you can find ways to kind of repurpose it. Yeah.
And you know, cooking turkey too, I'm sure there's some safety stuff that go into that as well.
Yep. And so as we get ready for thawing the bird, because a lot of people buy their turkey frozen, which is very, very common. There's different ways to do that. One of my tips is allowing, if you do it in the refrigerator, which again, probably the most common, you do it on the lowest shelf. You have something under it, because think of all those turkey juices. You don't want that to get in your salad or anything like that. But you allow 24 hours of defrosting time for every 5 pounds. So that's kind of, again, a very general rule. So it's 24 hours of defrosting time for every 5 pound of turkey. So if you have a 20-pound bird, you're going to want to give it 4 to 5 days to thaw in the refrigerator. Again, bottom shelf, you're going to keep it in its wrapping, but you're going to put a tray under it. So if it starts leaking, it's going to leak right into a tray and not make a huge mess in your refrigerator. And one thing you never want to do, there's multiple ways you can thaw, but you never want to thaw at room temperature. Again, it's going to produce that harmful bacteria you can't see, can't smell, can't taste, and you cannot cook it out. So that's one thing. Someone's like, I'll cook it to 180. It'll cook it out. And I always think of National Lampoons when they cook it too long and they open it up and it's all dry. We don't want your turkey to be dry. So that's the other thing. Cooking it isn't going to kill that bacteria at that point. If it's already there, you can't get it. 165 isn't going to get it to destroy harmful stuff, super harmful stuff. But yeah. Additionally, when we talk about that, I said there was multiple ways to thaw. So refrigerator is most common. You can thaw in a sink as long as it's a clean sink in water. Allow 30 minutes per pound to defrost a turkey in cold water. Typically, you're changing that water every 30 minutes. So you can put it in water, submerge it. Again, keep it in its wrapper. Don't take it out of its wrapper. So a 4 to 12 pound bird is going to take somewhere between 2 to 6 hours to thaw. But again, you're changing that water every 30 minutes. So put a timer on your fridge. Again, there's a good chance to move too as we get closer to the holidays. But that's the other one. And you can also do it as part of cooking. Or microwave thawing. That's another one a lot of people do. Microwave thawing works if you have a big enough microwave. So we're having a discussion.
Have a pretty big one for that.
Yes, we're having this, and follow your manufacturer's instructions for that, just to make sure the size of your turkey fits in the microwave. Because when you cook in a microwave, it's a little irregular. You might get cold spots in there, which encourage bacteria to grow. So if you're going to cook it in the microwave, you do need to you need to cook it right afterwards, after you defrost. So don't store in the refrigerator for later if you do thaw in a microwave with your turkey. So yeah. So those are our 3 main ways: refrigerator, cold water, and microwave.
And what is that special temperature you need to get the bird to make sure it's healthy? What is that again?
Yep. So safety wise, you always want to get your turkey to 165. And I mean, you're checking it in multiple spots. I tell people don't count on the little popper. So I know they have that in most turkeys. They say when it's done, it pops. Those aren't always reliable. So you always want to have a thermometer near you. And a lot of it, of course, is the food safety side of it. But also, if you overcook it, you're going to have that dryness. And that's not what you want with your turkey. So 165 is the number to keep in your head. Yeah.
165, 165.
Yes. Yep.
165. Now, how can I keep my turkey nice and moist?
Yeah. Yep. So again, you could be adding broth in there. You could be, and that's up to kind of the person on how they do it. I always say water, but water you don't get a lot of flavor out of. So that's where I go to either your broth or your stock and kind of just checking on it every once in a while and basting it. A lot of people baste their turkey. But yeah, just kind of however you want to do it, just to make sure that it's keeping liquid in there and you're not overcooking it. Yeah.
How can I keep track? Well, maybe not keep track. That's not necessarily the most healthy thing to do, but how can I make sure I get everything I want out of Thanksgiving while staying healthy over the holiday? Because that could be a bit of a battle at times.
Yep. And a lot of that has to do with, I tell people, try to have the mantra, maintain, not gain. So I said, this is a horrible time of year to try to follow a really strict diet regimen because you want to enjoy the holidays. So one of my tips is when you sit down to eat, first survey everything that's out. So of course we have a huge spread usually for Thanksgiving, and focusing on those fruits and vegetables first. So it might be cranberry sauce. Again, maybe not the healthiest of options, but it's better than going for the really heavy starches first. So looking at the salad first, looking at, and how can I make half my plate that first? And when I sit down, eat that first. And so when you're the most hungriest, it's going to fill you up with that fiber and hopefully prevent you from overeating and feeling miserable post holidays or post meal.
Yeah, I know a lot of times when I've stuffed myself, I just want to go and lay down and take a nap. So maybe I'll go for the salad first.
Right. And it's hard because there's so many different options. And that's just it. Even filling your plate smaller and doing those first and then sitting there. And we tell people to give yourself somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes before going for second helpings.
Oh, yeah.
So at that point, drink some water, talk to the people at the table, and then get up, because that gives time for your stomach to catch up with your brain. So that way you're going to know, okay, I've already had way too much, as opposed to eating super fast and not realizing you're miserable 2 hours later. And it's because you overate and you didn't really give time for your body to adjust that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's some really helpful advice. What other advice do you have to give about your turkey or just the Thanksgiving holiday and nutrition?
Sure. Again, if you fall off track, don't be so hard on yourself. And that's a hard one to say and to do, but it's another day. We say one meal doesn't make an entire lifestyle. So enjoy everything. Have little bits of everything that you want to try, that you want to eat. We just people try to cut down on the alcohol. So that's okay. The spiked eggnog, it's there for a reason. But trying to drink a glass of water in between there, because what happens with alcohol is it lowers your inhibitions and you're more likely to overeat and not paying attention to how much you're eating as well. So it kind of adds up on those calories in a negative way. So yeah, so finding different ways on your menu, how can I add more fruits and vegetables, and limiting the amount of alcohol you're intaking that day. Yeah.
You're listening to the WTM Morning Show with Acting County Director and Nutritional Wellness Educator Lisa Peterson with the University of Illinois Extension. More from Lisa after this break here on the WTM Morning Show. Heard online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com and streamed on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook page.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network for Thursday. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn higher, beans mostly higher, wheat trading double-digit higher at this hour. December corn 5.80 up 5 1/4. March corn up 5 3/4, 5.87 1/4. December 22 corn 5.57 up 4 1/2. January beans currently 12.81 up 4 1/2. March beans up 12.92 1/4. November 22 beans 12.59 down 3 1/4. December wheat, 838 3/4, up 16.5. March wheat up 17, 850. July wheat up 15 1/4, 838. December bean meal, 376.40, up 170. December bean oil up 20 cents, 59.43. In the livestock market, December live cattle, 132.82, up 60 cents. November feeders down 12 cents, 155.95. And December lean hogs at this hour, 75.12. That's down $1.05. Look at the markets on this Thursday. Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio.
Those sounds mean it's the holiday season.
Just in time for the holiday sale at your expanded local design center, Taylorville Home Source, 1316 East Park, near the driver's license office in Taylorville.
Carpet now starting at just $155 a square foot. Waterproof vinyl plank starting at just $349.
Buy sheet vinyl starting at just $1.55.
Buy now and get it installed before Chris Kringle makes his visit.
Taylorville Home Source, your source for the bathroom and kitchen remodel for the holidays.
This is Mike Adams, host of Adams on Agriculture. Glad to be back on News Talk WTIM, sharing my daily interviews with national and regional ag leaders. It's an hour of no-nonsense ag reporting where we take the time to discuss what's happening in agriculture right now and how it affects you, the Central Illinois farmer. It's part of over 8 hours a day of ag programming on News Talk WTIM's many platforms. Tune in weekday afternoons at 1:06 and join me, Mike Adams, for Adams on Agriculture on News Talk WTIM.
Chip Flory here, inviting you to join the conversation as we tackle the current issues of agriculture every weekday morning at 10:06 on the Talk of Central Illinois, News Talk WTIM. I host AgriTalk, the nation's longest-running interview show dedicated to discussing agriculture issues with the newsmakers and include you in the conversation via our toll-free number. We're here weekdays mornings at 10:06. We are AgriTalk.
When it comes to severe weather, no app,
no siren, no computer can provide you with the instant weather information
that this Miller Media Group radio station provides. Our broadcast equipment is linked directly to the National Weather Service, and anytime they issue a watch or warning for our local county or any of our surrounding counties, that information is broadcast instantly right here.
Anytime, 24 hours a day.
So don't worry about downloading an app or worrying about whether a siren will go off. Just have your radio tuned to this Miller Media Group radio station anytime for the latest severe weather information.
We're here to keep you safe.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. You're on WTIM, your information station, as heard on Big 870 across Central Illinois. WTIM, your information station. You're here with Acting County Director of Nutrition Wellness Educator Lisa Peterson with the University of Illinois Extension. And it's right now, we were just saying in the break, Thanksgiving just snuck up on us.
Yes. And, yep. We're only, like crazy, a week away.
Yeah, I know. So,
yeah.
Also, you mentioned to me something about a little bit of a myth that of staying healthy during the holidays.
Yep. So one thing, and I was telling him, I just had a class earlier this week with a family group in Hillsboro, and we were talking about diets and the holidays and trying to eat better. And one myth that often I hear a lot is a lot of people gain 5 pounds during the holidays. Somewhere between November and January, people pack on at least 5, and that is a myth. So the most people usually pack on is roughly about a pound. The problem is people don't tend to lose that weight. So it kind of sticks with them and sneaks up on them. And so 5 years later, now you've gained 5 pounds. So it's kind of figuring out how can I stay active as well during it. And even during that class, we talked about stress management. And one way we do that to reduce our stress is being active. And that I said, that's one of the easiest ways to help you relieve stress is finding a way to get your body moving. Because it's going to release those hormones that are going to help reduce that burden of that stress you're feeling.
I think too, it's important to make sure that you're not putting too much pressure on yourself to do that, because that's just more stress that you're adding on. And
that's a really hard one because, and we talked about that too, is we put that stress on ourselves that everything has to be perfect. And it's almost preparing yourself for not being perfect. You're preparing yourself for those great stories of that somebody got their hair stuck in a mixer, and that has actually happened once and everybody got it out, and I'm like, you focus on the positive. So what happened? The kitchen started on fire. Well, we put it out as soon as it happened and nothing burned down. So you try to find those. They're going to be fun stories later, as stressful as they are now, but finding the positive. And even that's a fun conversation to have at the dinner table is, what was your favorite part of the day? what was your favorite part of the meal, and really focusing on that positive and that gratitude. And our research does show that really practicing gratitude, so be what am I thankful for, is a way to relieve stress. So those days, again, as we get into the holidays and you're worrying about budgeting, you're worried about wrapping everything gifts, making sure the house is clean, try to spend a day at least coming up with 1 or 2 things of what are you grateful for that day. And it will help. And it's crazy because it does. It's a good way to relieve stress. One of the
Nutrition and wellness of the mind,
Yes.
so not just of the body and
Yep.
what you eat. And, even if that just means just subbing in your run for the day with a
Mhm.
brisk walk with the dog, that can be that can
Yep.
make a big difference in gaining 1 pound or maybe just maintaining, as you mentioned in the first segment.
And again, reframe it. If you don't like the idea of saying, I'm going to go work out, make it your me time. Say, this is my stress relief time. This is my time. This is my time to kind of relieve that stress, take a 20-minute walk, to do it as a family, just finding something that you can do that's active, like building, we can't do it right now, but building a snowman as we get closer to winter. Or I joked with one group that cleaning, they've actually shown that 45 minutes of scrubbing the floors and windows counts as moderate physical activity. So crank up that music and get out there. And if you got to clean for the holidays, that's a great way to burn calories. Even commercials. That's another fun one, is if there's a commercial during a TV show, get up and pace your house.
Yeah.
Every commercial. And you're going to burn calories that way. So again, little things. And as we get closer to the new year too, with these New Year's resolutions, make it super small. Make it something you can do. So I'm going to do 10 minutes a day of a walk for 5 days this week, or I'm going to do it 2 days a week. And you're going to find if you're successful, you're going to keep doing it. So don't set yourself, try not to set yourself up for failure. If you got a big goal to lose 10 pounds this year, make it 1 pound a month or something like that. So a little bit more achievable.
Right. It's I think one of the first things in that goal setting theory
Mhm.
is, what is it? How manageable it is? Or
Yep,
something
it's
of the-
smart. We call them smart goals.
That's
So
exactly what
very
I was going.
specific. Yep, it's
Specific, measurable,
attainable,
reachable,
or
and
realistic.
realistic,
Yep.
and what's that last one?
Timely. Very
Timely,
good.
yeah.
Yep, a smart goal. Yep.
Yeah, that's a smart goal. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's something, especially I think everybody wants, it's a new year. They want to
Mhm.
hit their big
Yep.
goal really big, set it big, and then hit it and smash it. But that's just not how it goes. a lot of the
Right,
time.
right. We want you to be real. We want you to be successful. Or otherwise, it causes that snowball effect where one thing goes wrong. I didn't make it to the gym this one day this week, and now I'm not going at all because of what happened. I also, when we talk about physical activity, ideally you do want to try to get 30 minutes a day. That's what our physical activity guidelines recommend. But if you can break that down into 10-minute segments, that still counts. So again, doing 3 10-minute walks a day, that counts towards physical activity. So cutting it down also, it's going to help relieve stress, it's going to help with your body, going to make you healthier, going to give you more energy. That's often missed. So that's the other thing to really think about. If you want to have more energy to wrap presents, go for a walk.
Got to go here in a little less than a minute. Any final thoughts that you have, Lisa, or any final tips?
Yeah, make sure you have a great holiday season. Avoid leaving your cold food out or your hot food out for more than 2 hours. Otherwise, throw it in the refrigerator so you can enjoy it later and you feel much better for all that Black Friday shopping.
And of course, don't let your leftovers sit in the kitchen or in your refrigerator for too long. 'Cause-
Yes, yep. Rule of thumb, generally 4 days.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the program, Lisa.
Yeah,
It's great
thank
to have you. You're listening to the WTIM Morning Show, heard live on the Big 870 across Central Illinois and 96.1 FM in Christian County. Also streamed on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook page. WTIM, your information station.